This video is going to be focusing on using a scale to determine distance by creating proportionate ratios. And I've got a map of Washington, and notice down below there is a scale. Let me zoom in here. And I think most maps have these sorts of scales. Now, we've got a line with some tick marks. The bottom is in kilometers. The top is in miles. And if I bring my ruler to where the 0 is to mark it off, you can see that 100 kilometers is on the inch, and the 2 inches is on the 200 kilometers. So we could say in this, for this map, 1 inch equals 100 kilometers. Okay, so what we could do is measure with our ruler some distances, between one point and another, and then use the relationship of 1 inch to 100 kilometers to determine how many kilometers are between, make up the distance. Now, we normally in the U.S. don't use kilometers, we use miles, but this is a nice, easy example of using scale, and so I just want to do a couple problems with you. Now let's say that we are going to go from Montesano, which is right here, to Olympia, which is right there. I'm going to measure, and it doesn't quite look like it's a full inch. I'm going to say, now it's maybe slightly more than 3/4 of an inch, but for the sake of this exercise, I'm going to say it's 3/4 of an inch. So from Montesano to Olympia, it's 3/4 inches. And so we want to, going the wrong way. We want to determine how many kilometers is between Montesano and Olympia. Now, I'm gonna guess that it's going to be less than 100 kilometers because a full inch would be 100 kilometers. And since it was 3/4 of an inch, I'm thinking it's 3/4 of 100, which would be 75 kilometers. But let's go ahead and set it up. We know that 1 inch equals 100 kilometers, and we measured 3/4 of an inch, and we want to know what the x value is, how many kilometers that is. We're going to cross multiply. So 1 times x, that's going to give us x, equals 100 times 3/4, or you could write it as 100 times 0.75, because 3/4 is the same thing as 0.75. Now, because I'm multiplying by 100, x is going to be 75 kilometers. Let's do one other one. Let's now go from, let's go from Olympia to Bellingham. Okay. So again, I'm going to measure with my ruler from Olympia to Bellingham, and it looks like it's 2 7/8. Okay, this would be 8/8 on the 3. Looks like it's 2 7/8. So again, I'm going to create a ratio. Get this paper. I know that 1 inch is equivalent to 100 kilometers. And I've got 2 7/8. If you know what the decimal is, it's going to be 875. So 2.875 over, I don't know. I don't know how many kilometers that is. I have a feeling it's going to be more than 200 because 1 inch is 100, 2 inches is 200, and it's not quite 3, so it would be under 300 kilometers. But let's go ahead and figure it out exactly. So again, cross multiply. 1 times x is 1x. And then 100 times 2.875. Because I'm multiplying a decimal number by 100, I'm just going to move the decimal place over 2 spaces. So x equals 287.5 kilometers. So again, I was right. It was going to be less than 300 kilometers. Anyway, those are just some examples of how you could use this scaling that's on most maps to figure out the distance from one place to another, just using your ruler and developing or using proportionate ratios.